Well, hello everyone. This is Brother Donna here. I'd like to welcome you to Heroes of the Faith, and it is the Christmas Eve edition. I'd like to say Merry Christmas. Welcome. You can tell this is pre-recorded, so come on in the house, get you some hot coffee or cocoa, and let's talk about another hero of the faith. And tonight, I thought since we are right at the cusp of Christmas, we would look at St. Nicholas. Now, St. Nicholas was a very real person, and I've titled this St. Nicholas, the Saint Whose Legend Started a Lie. And I thought that was a little snarky, but St. Nicholas, the legend who started a lie. Now, moms and dads, let me tell you, if you do have small children, you have not uh, told them in entirety about Santa Claus, you may want to usher them out of the room because in this installment we will talk about the legend of Santa Claus and St. Nicholas. So St. Nicholas was a real person. He lived roughly, now this is a long time ago he lived, roughly from 270 AD to 343. And we know him as St. Nicholas. Now, according to tradition, he was born in the ancient uh, Lycaonian seaport city of Patara. And when he was young, he traveled to Palestine and Egypt. He became the bishop of Myra soon after returning to Lycia. He was imprisoned and likely tortured during the persecution of Christians by the Roman Emperor Diocletian, but was released under the rule of Constantine the Great. These are historical facts that we are trying to put together. And again, this is a long time ago. I mean, we're talking about 1700 years ago. So a long time ago that we're trying to piece in the puzzle. But he was a bishop, and it said, participated in several different councils, namely, as it stated here, the Council of Nicaea in 325, where he allegedly struck the heretic Arisus in the face, and he was buried in the church at Myra. And by the 6th century, his shrine there had become well known. Now, to the right of your screen, you're going to see a couple of different pictures. The bottom picture is a picture of Myra, and the top picture is the shrine of St. Nicholas there in Myra. And the bottom picture is in that shrine is a figurine of St. Nicholas himself. So St. Nicholas, we don't have a lot of information about what he did, the real information about what he did. We've got a lot of legends. In 1087, Italian sailors stole his remains from Myra and took them to Italy. And this removal greatly increased the saint's popularity in Europe and became one of the most crowned of all the pilgrimage centers. You got to understand, at this time in the Catholic Church, relics were huge, and relics were pieces of the old saints. It may have been pieces of their body, it could have been bones, it could have been relics of hair, it could have been relics of some kind of cloth. Like, for instance, there was relics of supposedly Christ, the spear, uh, different relics that the church claimed to have some sort of miraculous power. And so some of the saints that they said were saints, their bones would have miraculous power according to them. In truth, it appeared to be a way that they could take in extra fundage to get fundage by using relics and so forth. But someone came and stole the body of St. Nicholas and kind of distributed that all around the world. And this was common. Grave robbers were common because you could get big money for all this stuff, big money for these relics. So the St. Nicholas of then, how in the world did it get to be what we know today as St. Nicholas? Well, Nicholas's reputation for generosity and kindness gave rise to many of the legends and the miracles that he supposedly performed for the poor and unhappy. He was reputed to have given marriage dowries of gold to three girls whom poverty would have forced into the lives of prostitution. That is the miracle of the dowries. You'll see it up in the top right of the screen. And then to have restored life to 3 children who had been chopped up by a butcher and put in a tub of brine. There was a chef, and it said he got his meat from meat of children. Well, St. Nicholas comes along and brings the children back to life. This was the miracle of the barrel. And so St. Nicholas, and again, this is all legend, nothing said in stone. St. Nicholas became the patron saint of Russian Greece and of charitable fraternities and guilds, and of children, sailors, unmarried girls, merchants, pawnbrokers in Switzerland and Moscow. Thousands of European churches were dedicated to him, and one built by the Roman Emperor Justinian at Constantinople, now Istanbul, as early as the 6th century. So whatever Nicholas or whoever Nicholas was, whatever he did, his good deeds, the legends carried after him. And for us, it's important to know that he was a real saint. He was in a church and he did live. Now, not much else is known. So how in the world did we get to Santa Claus? And in our Western tradition, there are numerous stories, and there's a lot of different rabbit trails you can go down, but I tried to bring in how did we go from honoring someone named St. Nicholas to having some sort of Christmas figurine now? Well, after the Reformation, the devotion to Nicholas seemed to have disappeared. In other words, there was not as much focus on the relics, not as much focus on that time of year, December 6th, which was supposedly the day of his death. And after the Reformation, many of the Protestant countries just didn't do anything. They didn't acknowledge him. They didn't do anything except for Holland. Now, Holland had a different name for the same legend. It's how the Hollands the people in Holland would say Nicholas Sinterklaas. So this is how it ended up in America. The Dutch colonists took this Sinterklaas tradition with them to New Amsterdam. And New Amsterdam, there was many New Amsterdams, but the New Amsterdam in America later became New York City. So when our country was first started and founded, because of the Protestantism over in Europe, Christmas things were still unlawful. They were still not looked at very much. And as Europe ceased to be as Protestant, some of the emphasis backed off of Christmas being illegal. And when that happened, some of the traditions was able to be brought to the New World. And for instance, the Dutch colonists. Now, Sinterklaas was adapted by the country's English-speaking majority, which later came to be known as Santa Claus. And from my research, Santa Claus is, depending on where you're from, is based up off of a lot of traditions and legends from multi places. Some legends from Germany, some from Nordic folk tales, magicians, and you'll see these different pictures here. The top picture is the god, the Nordic god Odin, and part of Santa Claus's legend comes from Odin, the white beard, etc. The right-hand picture is the Santa Claus in Holland, which is Sinterklaas. That is a picture, and then the bottom one is another Nordic tradition. There is a elf-like being that accompanies Saint Nicholas called Krampus, and Krampus was after the bad children. So really, what it amounts to is Saint Nicholas, as we know him, was a true saint who really lived. And his legend gave rise to many other legends in local areas. And then finally, some form of that legend came to America of what we call Santa Claus. Now, this is the bottom line with it. The bottom line with what we do as Christians is if we are going to celebrate a man-made holiday, which I will tell you, you'll not see Christmas in the Bible. Christmas did not come to 300s when they said we're going to merge up some pagan festivals with the winter solstice and do all this and that. But nonetheless, here we are. We got it. So if you're going to celebrate Christ, why are you going to confuse it with some man-made saint that we know a little bit about? And so my hope today is this gives you a little more idea. You probably already knew all this stuff about St. Nicholas, and that's why I had you. I wouldn't want to be the one that let the cat out of the bag with your children. That's your responsibility. Quit lying to them. I'll be honest with you. Quit lying to them. Santa Claus don't have nothing to do with salvation. The more you study, the more you look into it, the more you figure out who knows right from wrong, who knows who's naughty, you're attributing to a legend things that only belong to God. So that's St. Nicholas, and that's your tip of the day when it comes to Christmas. I know most people that listen to this already have made that determination and do not follow this, but that's kind of where we have what we have today. And would I call St. Nicholas a hero? Well, he did stand up at the Council of Nicaea to try to fight against some false teaching, but there was a lot. And for anybody to be a Christian in that time prior to Constantine coming to faith, sort of, I would call them heroes. So hope this enjoyed you. One program note for tomorrow. We will not do a broadcast in the morning since I'll be preaching tomorrow night at the Cross on At the Cross channel. So no morning message at New Salem. We're having church, but I'm going to save that message for tomorrow night at the Cross gathering. And at the Cross gathering will be at 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. I think it's right, 7 o'clock Central Time. Yes, that's right. We'll start at 6:30 Central Time, actually. So, hope this has blessed you. Listen, I hope you have a Merry Christmas. If I can do anything for you, please let me know. Till I see you next time, God bless you. It's Brother Donnie signing off. You've been watching Heroes of the Faith. We'll see you next time.